creation, I'm a brand new man. Old things are passed away, I am born again. More than a conqueror, that's who I am. I'm a new creation, I'm a brand new man.
This is the Spirit of Life broadcast, and of course we're in the middle of February, moving toward March, and we've had, again, just a continuation from the last show, a school shooting. 19-year-old boy, young man, took a AR-15 and decided months, weeks ahead of time, premeditated, to go into the school and kill as many people as possible. And he got 17. He killed a coach, and he killed teachers and students, and what didn't matter, anything didn't matter. But now his lawyer says he's remorseful, and he wants to plea bargain to be sure he doesn't die or get the death penalty. Isn't that amazing? See, the devil don't want to die, but he wants everybody else to die. He don't want to be uncomfortable, but he wants everybody else uncomfortable. But here's the thing. This morning I'm watching Fox News. This is Saturday morning, and there's a school wants to have graduation in the church, in the big church, a nice church, and they've been doing this for years and years, the two working together to give the school a place to have a graduation ceremony. Well, some atheists, whoever they are, they never tell who the atheists are offended at the cross in the church and wanted them to take the cross down out of the church to have the graduation ceremony for the high school. Now, the church said, we're not doing that. God bless them for that. But now they got to move the whole graduation because of one or two atheists. Tell me what is wrong with that. Atheists are offended at the cross. Really, really offended. They're really upset. Their little hearts are just broken over the fact there's a cross in a church. Well, then don't go to the graduation ceremony. Stay home. Don't go. Don't be a part of it. But don't make everybody else not go. But our society just gives in to whatever. They're going to sue them, so they just surrender. They just surrender. I wonder if the atheist is offended at the cross on all the doors in the courthouse. If you look at your doors in your house, each one's got a cross on it. Everything about our society is created on crosses. Crosses are the foundations of many things that hold buildings up, you know. Things crossing each other or fitting into each other or whatever. But I think it's a bunch of hogwash. They're not offended. They just want to stop the school from taking their children into a church because they might believe something. So what happened? Why did this happen? Why are we having school shootings? Why do they want to take your guns? I mean, it's just a bunch of political nonsense. We found out that someone did call the FBI and tell them that this guy had a lot of guns and he was talking a bunch of smack about shooting up people, killing people, whatever, and they just simply ignored it. Didn't forward the information down to that area, to the FBI, so now you got 17 dead people, and they just kind of like get on TV and go, well, yeah, we kind of fell through the cracks, but, you know, that's just life, man, and people make mistakes and a whole hum. I think the families of all of those people that have been wounded and dead and hurt should sue the FBI, the agents that received the phone call, the people who did not send the message on down to where it needed to go, ought to be sued for millions of dollars, and the money should be divided between those 17 families. This is ridiculous. This is stupid. But I'll tell you a story. I was on my Facebook, and somebody sent me a picture of a guy, a young man, not old, not a kid, but a young man, holding a gun, an AR, whatever it was. I don't know, it was a rifle, long gun. And he just looked kind of weird to me. And I'm a 20-year veteran from law enforcement, so he looked kind of weird. So I got on the phone and called FBI in Columbia, South Carolina. I got some young lady, I guess she was an FBI agent, and she just pretty much blew me off, didn't care, didn't matter. And I questioned her. I said, do you care about what I'm telling you? Does it matter to you? And it didn't. So why would people call and tell people on the phone that you see something that bothers you, and they just go, no big deal, don't worry about it, thank you very much for the call, and hang up? So where does the problem really lie? Is it in the people, or is it in the agencies? I know FBI don't want to talk to the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department don't want to talk to the police department. Nobody wants to do anything with anybody else because they all want credit for solving the cases that probably, this would not have probably happened if the FBI had followed up on this young man. Maybe the shooter would have got help. Maybe he could have got counseling. Maybe they would have took his gun from him. I don't know. But maybe they would have changed his mind about wanting to kill people by finding out why he wants to kill people. Maybe they could have just stopped this whole thing if that agent who got the phone call, that person who got the phone call, and I'm sure maybe he made a log of it or she made a log of it or whatever, but they didn't do what they were supposed to do. They don't do what they tell you they're going to do. If you call us, if you see something, say something, and then we can kind of just throw it in the trash and go hum and go on down and get some dinner. So what's the point? It ain't see something, say something, and we're going to go fix it. If they want to respond, they do. If they don't think, if they think you're an idiot for calling them about it, and I'm sure they get many calls about it. But you know, when I was a deputy sheriff, if we got a call, the sheriffs I worked for said you will respond to that call and go see about it. If it's a fluke or not, or if it's just somebody being stupid, you still go to that call and check it out. You do not just ignore it. We were not allowed to do that. I don't think any law enforcement agent should be allowed just to ignore it. It's not up to dispatch or someone who answers the phone to decide whether we should go and look into something or not. It needs to be forwarded to the supervisors and say, this is what we got going on. What do you think? Maybe we should go see about this, you know. So, yeah, it fell through the cracks and 17 young people are dead. The guns didn't run down there and kill these people. Guns are never going to be the problem. The AR and the AR-15 is the initials of the person who invented the AR-15. It does not mean assault rifle. I've arrested a lot of people in my life as a deputy sheriff for assault and battery. That means they hit them with their fist or with an object. It wasn't an assault object. It wasn't an assault stick. It wasn't an assault gun or an assault knife. You know, and in the Bible, I guess David had an assault slingshot. And the people who stoned Stephen, I guess they were assault stones. The prophet who cut the king up, who was an evil king, it was an assault sword. But how about the person being an assault person? The person is arrested for assault and battery. The person assaulted those kids with an AR-15. That was the weapon used. That was the thing. If I threw a rock at you, I would be arrested for assault and battery with a rock. It's not an assault rock. They try to make them bigger than they are or more frightful than they are. And they you know, the Democrats always use, well, they're children, they're kids, they're babies. They come over here at no fault of their own. It's all somebody else's fault. And why? And then you got, you know, it's tears and tear jerkers and stuff. Those babies are now grown-up people that are here illegally. They've been here for 20 years. You know, and you know, separate the kids from mom and dad. No, they can all go back to Mexico together. They don't have to stay here and be separated. Those folks didn't have to bring them babies over here illegally. They could have stayed in their own country. But now we're supposed to feel sorry for them. You know? I don't get no special treatment. I'm an American. I was born here, raised here. My mom and dad is born here, raised here. My granddad is born here and raised here. And we didn't get no special treatment. We didn't get $3,000 a month. We didn't get food stamps. Still don't. I mean, come on. How about doubling my Social Security check every month for me, if you don't mind? Certainly could use it. So a lot of this is just politics. Democrats want more and more people into the country so they can have a voting base that would keep them in office and in power forever. That's what it's all about. They when they voted for the African American to get to vote, that's what it was about getting them to vote for them for the next 600 years. What Lyndon Johnson said. If we give them the vote, don't you like the statement, the white folks, if we give them the vote? I thought they had a right to vote. I didn't think you had to give it to them. If we give them the right to go in a restaurant, if we give them the right to go eat with us, if we give them the right to go to our school, if we give them, notice who's doing the giving, as if they have the power and the authority to be the giver of rights, then they can be the taker of rights. I mean, people in power are just corrupt. They're just corrupt. But let's take God out of the schools. Let's take God out of government. Let's don't let no crosses be, even in churches. Let's don't have any Christian ceremonies. Let's don't salute the flag. Let's don't do the Pledge of Allegiance any longer in our schools. Let's throw God out. Well, what did God say to his people? What was the 10 laws God gave them? Maybe we need to put them back into school. Maybe we get them in the hearts of the children and in the mind of the children of a right and wrong, a day and night. Give them moral compasses. Give them this is wrong, this is right. Why am I thinking this way? Maybe we need to have a father and a mother and children and pastors and priests and church. Maybe godly people now should come together and start running this country instead of the ungodly people. Think about that. Godly people running this nation. It's okay to kill babies in the womb, but let's ban AR-15 rifles because somebody takes one and goes shoot 17 people. If you shoot 17 living people, it's, oh my God. If you kill 60 million babies in 10 years, you have the right to do that for the health and welfare of the mother. And they've never proven that all these 60 million mothers had a health and welfare problem other than they just didn't want the kid. They're crazy. Their thinking is just absolutely demonically nuts. Here we go. Exodus verse 20. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which hath brought thee out of the land of the Egypt, out of the house of bondage, bringing you out of sin. We, the American people, were brought out of the UK, England, out of the house of bondage under a king and a pope. We wanted the right to worship God our way, freedom to do it our way, not the pope's way, not the king's way. We wanted to be a free people. So God brought us out of the house of bondage, which was Europe at the time, 1492, 1400s. And here's what he says, and this is what we're missing. I am the Lord thy God, which hath brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of bondage. But the word is, we got to get it back in us and in our kids and in our system, in our government, that Jehovah God, the Creator, I am the Lord thy God. I am God. Get that in your head. Get that in your heart. Get that in your spirit. That look, I'm the one in charge. I am omnipotent, everywhere present. I am the creator of the universe. Heavens and earth, I created you. I am the Lord thy God. I'm God. And maybe when politicians quit thinking they're God, Republican, Democrat, into whoever, Maybe when the mayor quits thinking he's God and the town council quits thinking they're God. When people who are in rule and in authority think that they're God and they don't pay any attention to the Lord thy God. Atheists think they're God. Did you know being offended don't make you right, and being an atheist because you say there ain't no God don't mean there is not one? Most atheists today that complain about things offending them are on a political agenda for them. They don't care one way or the other whether you believe in God or not. But why would you be afraid of a cross of a God that you don't believe in? That's just stupid. I don't believe in him, but if I look at that cross, I'm going to be offended at something I don't believe in. It's just two pieces of wood stuck together. How can that be offensive? But the telephone poles that look like crosses offend you? The window panes in houses that look like crosses, do they offend you? Do the crosses in doors in courthouses and government buildings, do you want all those doors taken down? Because everywhere you go, you just, oh my God, another cross. Oh my God, another cross. Look at that telephone pole that looks like a cross. Have you ever wondered why everything seems to look like a cross and how crosses work and making things stable? Doors are more stable because of the way they're made. Telephone poles have a purpose. The way they're built to hold up wires. Everything. If you look at it, human beings are made like a cross. You got two eyes out here, you got the nose and mouth, you got your torso, you got your shoulders, your arms are out here. You're built like a cross. How much does God love you? This much, you know. They're not offended at that. They just want to have power to tell the school system what they can and cannot do. But see, where did we the people go? The government is by the people, for the people, of the people. It's not by the atheists, for the atheists, and of the atheists. But all they got to do is say, we're going to sue the school system, and they just cave. How about we start suing the school system if they want to be in charge and control the national anthem, flag going up, or playing football or whatever? Who are them 8 or 9, 10 people that's heading up the school board that says, well, we're in charge and we're going to make all the decisions for the whole county. We're going to say what can be in a school and what can't be in school. Really? Why do we keep putting them people in office to run our school boards if they don't believe in God? They don't believe in the flag. They just cave into all the liberal agenda. Could we change that? Could we actually have a Republican to be the governor of California and Oregon and Washington? Could we actually get some godly people in office in those places that have just about destroyed all of them with their liberal concepts of government? Entitlements to everybody, and now they're $50 zillion in debt going broke. The mayors are telling cops not to enforce laws. Sanctuary cities is telling their cops and them don't help the ICE agents find the bad guys to get them out of our country. You see, that's Satan. Satan in them does not. He don't want law enforcement. He don't want the bad people put in jail. He wants the good people put in jail for saying the bad people are bad people. I am the Lord thy God. That's something he wanted to drive home to them, the first thing out of his mouth. I am the Lord thy God, and the only reason you're coming out of Egypt because I came in there and got you. I sent Moses in there to get you. I got you out of bondage. I got you out of bondage. I saved you from your sins. I brought you out of that. And you need to recognize the fact that if I did not bring you out, you would not be out. If you were not saved, your salvation is of the Lord. And here's what he says. And he says, thou shalt have no other gods before me. You can be a God unto yourself. Your government can be God. Your house can be God. What are you worshiping? Who do you worship? People are afraid to death of the government, of law enforcement, If I spank my kid, I'm going to jail. You done made them people your God. I had 5 kids and I spanked them, and if they wanted to put me in jail, that was good. I would go to jail, but I'm in charge of my kids, not the government. I didn't abuse them, but I spanked them. I understand what abuse is. But, you know, you take the kid out of the home, let the parents stay there, and the kid goes somewhere for a year or 2 years or whatever. Because the kids are dumb enough to think you're going to take the parents out and they're going to stay home and run the place. It don't work that way. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters under the earth. Graven images. Oh, dear Lord, graven image. Do we have pictures of Elvis? And do we worship Elvis? Do we worship Michael Jackson? Do we worship all the rock and roll stars? And do we have images all over our room of movie stars and just run down to the red carpet and just worship them? And think they're all so wonderful and great. Do you understand what worship is? Paying the hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars a year, going to these movies and stuff just out of, oh, I got to go see him. I just got to go see him. Oh, what a wonderful movie. They kill people, shot things, blowed everything up. You know, the people that hate guns and hate violence, all their movies are about guns and violence. They make millions of dollars off of guns and violence. Well, they're not real guns. It's just a movie. That shouldn't influence you. That won't influence our children, really. Why do you have commercials if movies and stuff don't influence people? You mean those Tide commercials don't influence people to buy Tide? Those car commercials don't influence people to buy cars? You think them half-naked women sitting on the fender of a car or a motorcycle don't influence people? What's she on there for? You're buying the car, not the woman. Because lust makes you look at the woman, therefore you see the car. If you see a woman coming out of the ocean in a bikini holding a can of beer, you're going to look. They're using lust as a product to sell something that the woman's holding or walking around with. But watching a movie don't influence you. Don't influence the kids. Lies, 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 the father of lies. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I am the Lord thy God, am a jealous God. Listen to this. Visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me. Hate me means you love me less than all those things. Do you bow down to your graven engine? Do you bow down to your movie star? Do you bow down to your rock and roll or your rap artist? Do you bow down? Are you in awe of all the money they have and the neat clothes they wear and the fancy cars they drive? You know, they hate the rich even though they're the rich. They hate the 1%ers even though they're the 1%ers. What's it take to get you to say, you know, something's wrong with this picture? This is just crazy. Did we think at all? Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. Well, every time you go to the movie and pay for them tickets, you're serving them. You're putting money in their pocket by the zillions. And he said that I'll show mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain, meaning that he won't forgive that. What does it mean, take the Lord? It's not profanity. He said, keep all corrupt communications out of your mouth, except that which is good to the use of edifying and building people up. It's taking the name of God. I am a Christian, then going out into the world and acting like everything but a Christian. You took his name by declaring you are a Christian, and then everything you do in society declares that you're not a Christian. You're a hypocrite. That's an unforgivable thing in the sight of God, being hypocritical. You need to understand that. I shall not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Man was made for the Sabbath, or the Sabbath made for man. God made the Sabbath for man to rest in, not to worship. Holy means keep it different than all the other days. 6 days thou shalt labor and work, see? But the Sabbath day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God, and thou shalt not do any work there, nor thy sons, nor thy daughters, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy strangers that is within the gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth and the sea and all that is in them, and rested the Sabbath day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. What does that mean? He rested. It's okay. It's not a sin to rest. Take the day off. You're not considered lazy if you do that. Do you think we need the 10 Commandments back in school? It's in the courthouses. It's in the Supreme Court building. It's on all the monuments in Washington, D.C. And the reason people don't want it is because the kids might read it and believe it and adhere to it. Thou shalt not kill. You reckon that'd be something to put on the wall? Maybe you can write it in today's word. It's wrong to do premeditated murder. It's wrong to buy a gun and come to the school and shoot it up. It's wrong to do mass murders. It's just wrong to kill people. Can you say that, you teachers in school? Can you look at your classroom and say, I want to tell you that before God Almighty, it's wrong to shoot, kill, and destroy people like that? You got to understand there's people out there that's teaching your kids how to shoot, how to kill, how to destroy, how to do mass shootings. They're on the internet. There's people out there that if you don't give them this book to read, other people will give them books to read. Why is it okay for you? People love this religion that says if you don't believe the way I do, I'll cut your head off. Jesus don't do that. Forgive them that hate you. Pray for them that spitefully you. If they don't believe in Jesus, fine. Love them anyway. Go somewhere and meditate. There's one God, there's one Savior, there's one book that tells you how you should live as a human being. Thou shalt not kill. Honor thy father and thy mother. Honor thy father and thy mother. Respect mom and dad. That the days may be long upon the earth, upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery, fornication. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. And all the people saw the thundering and the lightning and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood far off. They moved from that mountain and said to Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear, but let not God speak, or we will die.
I'm a new creation, I'm a brand new man. Old things are passed away, I am born again. More than a conqueror, that's who I am. I'm a new creation, I'm a brand new man. Oh, hallelujah, he redeemed me. I am born again to